Hello and welcome to my channel. It's the end of a month again, so it is the time to make this video talking about the books I've read this month. Actually, I'm going to talk about the books I read in March as well because I didn't finish that. Because in the mid of March, I did a video recounting all my books I read in 2020 or the entire timeline of my book reading. I don't remember, but I made a video, so I already talked about half of the books I read in March. So I'm gonna pick up from where I left last time. I'm gonna tell you all the books I read in March anyway. So from the top, I read Hear the Wind Sing, Pinball, A Wild Sheep Chase, Never Let Me Go. This is one of my favorite of all time now. And The Empty Throne. It is so wonderfully written, and I just binge watched the Last Kingdom season 4, which is partially based on this book, The Empty Throne. And I have to say the book is so much better, the plot. Especially, spoiler alert if you want to watch the show, skip this part. Especially the part about how Ethelflaed got the throne of Mercia. In the book it is very calculated, and Uhtred used his wit, transition the power to Ethelflaed, and the people at Witten was cheering enthusiastically, and I was so hyped about that scene. But in the TV show, it's so different. It's so much less epicness. Like Uhtred was pushed around. He didn't want to be the Lord of Mercia, and then he talked with Ethelflaed, and Ethelflaed didn't approve of him being the Lord of Mercia. So at the last minute, he changed his mind and pushed the crown to Ethelflaed. It's just very unnatural, a little bit forced to match the plot in the book. Why don't they just do it exactly like the book? Make Uhtred more cunning, smart, and bold, and dare to do things like this. It's so much better in the book, but nonetheless I enjoy the show very much as well. It's always fun to watch Uhtred and his gang hang out, Sihtric, Finan, Osford. I could watch those people hang out in the tavern all day long. It's so much fun to watch them. Anyway, move on. Next one I read was After Dark by Murakami. Next one is Becoming by Michelle Obama. So last time I made a video, the last book I read was Becoming. I stopped here. So the next book is The Science of Sci-Fi. This is a book that a scientist explains how sci-fi works. Some basic concepts, some very interesting concepts like a warp drive, time travel, black hole, all those stuff if you want to understand it. I've always been interested in sci-fi and all those popular science stuff, so I watch a lot of YouTube videos explaining all those stuff. So the book actually didn't provide that much new information to me because I've heard of them more or less somewhere here or there in one form or another. But nonetheless, it was fun read. There was something here and there inspiring, and it makes me think about the matters of science and sci-fi. Pretty cool. Next one is Warriors of the Storm. This is the sequel of The Empty Throne. Excellent read. I really enjoy that. Next one is By His Bootstraps. This is actually a novella, a short story, about 35 pages, I don't remember. It's wonderfully written, really beautiful, and very immersive. I just lived through the character. At first it was a little bit cheesy, you know what's happening exactly in a time travel story. It kind of you kind of expect certain things to happen, but in the end it's really interesting, especially if you didn't know where the story leads. I already knew because I saw someone recommending this book, and was it the Science of a Sci-Fi author recommended this book? I don't remember. But the recommendation included a spoiler, so I kind of already knew what was going to happen in the end. So that took away part of the joy from reading that book. But if you didn't know at all about the plot, it's going to be so much fun. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. It's an excellent book. Not really a book, a short story. Anyway, move on. Next one, Choose Your Autobiography by Neil Patrick Harris. When I read celebrity autobiographies, there are two things gonna happen. One is I get really disappointed. The other is I get really inspired. Biography like Neil Patrick Harris, it's just I guess it's fun to read, but it's not as inspiring. And the format is really confusing because he used this format of choosing or your adventure format. It's like the adventure book. You choose, you make a decision here, you do A, then you go to page 35, you do B, you go to page 72, and you go on your very different adventure on each path. It's really confusing reading, listening in this format. Like, is that real? Is that what really happened, or is it just the alternative that he invented? It got really confusing. I didn't really enjoy reading that, but I guess if you're reading physical book, it should be better. Next, The Power of Having Fun. This is one of the books, the self-help book I got from Humble Bundle for a very cheap price. Didn't expect it to be a good read. I just skimmed through it because it's kind of boring and cheesy. Next, Tell Me Lies. This is actually a pretty fun read, but I wouldn't say it's excellent. I wouldn't give it a 4-star, 3-star average. Anyway, these are all the books I read in March. Actually, that is 13 books. 13. That's the highest book count in a month, I think. Yeah, that broke my record again. That was crazy. So yeah, I had a pretty good month in March, and then April. Right now, we're at the end of it, so we have only 3 days left, and I'm at 9 books, 9.5. I'm currently reading this, When We Were Orphans, this beautiful book. As always, I just love Ishiguro's writing. It's so wonderfully written. I'm gonna talk about it later, but I don't think I can finish it this month unless I really put in, 70 pages per day, which is a little bit difficult. I don't know. We'll see, but I don't think I'm gonna finish this. So, which means I'm gonna finish this month with 9 books. All right, let's go through what we read this month. The first one, The Flamebearer, another installment in the Saxon stories. I really enjoyed that book. It's awesome, as always. Always enjoy that book, that series. And this series is coming to an end as well, so it's a pity. The last book, The Warlord, is coming out this autumn in October, I believe. And it's probably gonna arrive in Italy a little bit later even than that. But I'm gonna get my hand on the physical book as soon as possible and read it. And oh my god, it's gonna be so sad to say goodbye to Uhtred of Bebbanburg. Anyway, next one is Dance, 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 another one by Murakami. And this is the second last book by Murakami that I had to read, actually fiction. It's really good. It's actually surprisingly good. I give it 5 stars. It's one of my favorite books, and I really enjoy the story. It's a big book. It's like 400 pages or something. I don't remember, but at the beginning of the book, it's really boring and a mundane story of daily activities. Today I go to the coffee house. I met this person. I blah blah blah. It's kind of just boring, but when it got into the middle of the book, one quarter in the book, it started to get interesting, and the plot started to go like this, and there's a lot of suspense, and it's very typical Murakami fantasy style. And I really enjoyed it, even though the characters and the actions can be a little bit predictable, as if you read a lot of Murakami, it's obviously it becomes a little bit repetitive because he employs a lot of same elements over and over again. But nonetheless, I enjoyed this book a lot, so I give it a 5 star. Next one, The Lost City of Monkey God. I listened to this book. It is about the white city in Honduras, the undiscovered ancient civilization kind of thing. Not really my type of thing. I was curious about what this is all about, but didn't really enjoy it that much. Next one, Sustainability. This is one of the boring scholarly book that I bought on Humble Bundle. It's published by MIT. The scholarly book. It's kind of boring, as you can imagine from the title, sustainability. It's full of big words and statistics and stuff. Next one, The Man on the Mountaintop. This is a story about a wise man on a mountaintop that people worship and go to visit and seek knowledge from him. Kind of interesting. At the beginning, I was really intrigued by the story, but at the end, got a little bit confusing. I guess if I read in paperback, in text, it should be better. But I guess I give it a solid 3, 3.5, something like that. Anyway, next one, War of the Wolf. This is the another installment in the Saxon stories. Yeah, I read so many of those. This is the third last, I think. Yes, third last. And this is the first one I read with the script. This is the moment I subscribed to Script, as I talked about last time. Script is really awesome service that you can read, access to their library unlimitedly. Unlike Audible, you have only 1 or 2 books, 1 or 2 credit per month. In this case, in Script, you can read as many as you want. But the thing is, you don't own these books, which means once your subscription is expired, then you don't have the access to these books anymore. But for me, that's fine, because I almost never revisit any of my Audible books. So if you read really fast, if you can read 2, 3, 4, or even more books on Script every month, then it is totally worth it. It's such a good value, because you pay only €8.99, I believe, yeah, for a month. Next is Second Skin, one of the I feel like a little bit the cheesy story. I don't even remember the plot after reading it very recently. Yeah, I think it's audiobook. Next one, After the Quake. This is the last Murakami fiction I read. This is also read on Script in audiobook format. I didn't enjoy it as much. It's a little bit confusing. There's 4 or 5, a few short stories. In the end, Sword of Kings. This is the second last Saxon stories, so which means it's the last book available in the Saxon Chronicles by Bernard Cornwell. Bernard Cornwell. Did I pronounce that right? Yes, I did right. And I'm a massive fan of this series. It's wonderful, and every book is excellent. I give them solid 4.5. These books are not exactly like a wonderful literature, beautifully written, blah, blah. It's just the story is wonderful, intriguing, fascinating, and just I'm absorbed in that world. Love it. And the last, not least, this book, Ishiguro's When We Were Orphans. So this is the book I'm currently reading. I'm at page 170 right now, so I need to read at least 70 pages per day to finish this by the end of the month, but I don't know. I'm not confident that I can finish this. As always, it's a very well written. The writing of Ishiguro, it's just so excellent. It's like a very classic and so tasteful, and it's like someone from centuries ago that's writing so carefully, so delicately. And his writing is he explains all the small motions and hesitations in the main characters, so vividly. It's like that's exactly how I would react in this situation. In his fictions, his characters often go into some recollections and take you a tour in his memories. He builds up the world very slowly, very patiently, so it's not suddenly grab you into the plot, but it's very slowly unfolding through all those characters around the main character, around the narrator. It's just wonderful. It's an incredible book, and I can see myself enjoying this book as much as the other books I read by him, like The Bird Giant, Never Let Me Go, and what else? The Remains of the Day. And his writing is just beautiful. English is not my first language, but I can feel that his skill of writing is beyond a lot of other writers. His vocabulary is really nice, the way he word and phrase. I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, that's it for this book review. Me becoming a booktuber, yeah, someday. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. Oh my god. And subscribe if you like. And I mainly do photography, videography, camera review, lens review, this kind of thing. Also vlog, travel a little bit if possible. You know, once the lockdown is finished, I will travel and go out to shoot vlogs because I have wonderful cameras that I cannot use right now because I'm stuck at home. Yeah, that's about it. That's my channel, and thanks for watching again. See you next time.